third as well. The Department of Education's guidance to school districts and states on the stimulus fund explicitly encourages districts to use those funds for pre-K third. I'm not going to read this entire paragraph that I took out of the guidance, but I think it's really exciting that they specifically mention using this to provide resources to align district-wide curriculum, to align pre-K with K-3, and then to use it to expand slots if you have a plan for sustainability. I think the fact that the Department of Education is telling folks to do that is a really exciting thing, particularly given the fact that the department hasn't provided that much detailed guidance to folks about how they should use these funds. Another thing that I think sort of went under the radar but is important is that the department is actually also explicitly encouraging districts that are using these funds for facilities to make sure that those facilities investments include community-based providers and early childhood providers in what they're doing with their facilities. And that makes sense if you think about Secretary Duncan's record in Chicago, where he was a big supporter of this sort of communities and schools approach and where they use community-based providers in their early childhood system. Just an example of a school district that is being proactive and thoughtful in using its stimulus funds to support pre-K third early education, Montgomery County, Maryland. It's right outside DC. It is using this money to increase the number of Title I schools from 27 to 30, and these are mostly in Montgomery County elementary schools. And so this is about improving the quality of services for kids in high-poverty elementary schools. Expanding full-day Head Start classrooms from 13 in 10 schools to 21 in 18 schools. They're using this money not just to maintain the early childhood investments that they already make. Montgomery invests a lot of money in pre-K programs and in full-day Head Start, but to build and expand that so more kids can benefit from that full-day Head Start program. Using the money to maintain small class sizes in the early grades, which is a big investment that they've made over the last few years. To increase reading and math supports by restoring teacher positions in those early grades, and then to support English as a second language students as well. And these are all primarily investments that are in kids within this pre-K third grade range because of the approach Montgomery County has taken. Some other examples of stimulus investments that folks could make that support pre-K third, and it is challenging because there is this emphasis on trying to use funds for things that are, one-time commitments that are not long-term sustained commitments, since some of these funds are not going to continue to be available going forward. But definitely using them to maintain funding for pre-K and full-day K programs. This is the intended purpose of the State Fiscal Stabilization Fund, is to ensure that districts are able to maintain what they're currently doing. So that's an important use. Investing in startup investments for early education expansion, some of the planning activities, some of the early professional development and training you need to do for teachers in order to make this work. You can fund that with stimulus funds. Aligning standards, curriculum, instruction and assessment vertically and horizontally. You're doing the analysis, bringing in consultants, doing the kind of work that you need to do to get everybody on the same page, both in terms of revising curriculum and implementing professional development. Common professional development linked to pre-K third. And then facilities needed to operate pre-K third programs. Districts have this tremendous flexibility to use these funds for facilities in a way that can actually be a little shocking. And there are a lot of things that, to operate a high-quality pre-K third program, that you might want to do to make your facilities a better place for young kids, to create a more unified setting for kids within the pre-K third range, and you can do that with these stimulus funds as well. So why use stimulus funds for pre-K third? First, I think it all goes back to this issue of, these aren't those kids over there, they're all our kids, and if school districts are going to use these funds to make investments that will pay off for them after this crisis is over, to really improve student achievement over the long term, they have to start with this critical foundation of proficiency in the early grades, which includes both quality pre-K, kindergarten, and then these investments going up through the early elementary school years. And so our hope is that with sort of this emphasis that the administration has put on using these funds not just to maintain the status quo, but to really drive improvements for kids, that combined with good state level and local level advocacy on the part of folks like you, this can be turned into pre-K third investments that have long-term payoffs for kids. It's a really big challenge. We are working in Washington to sort of push the administration in terms of what they're saying on some of this stuff, and at the same time it's even more important for folks to be working at the local and state level to push the people who actually have control of the money now that it's all gone out. And I hope that in the long term, though, we can see real benefit and payoff.